It's been over 3 years since we've heard anything from Insomniacs Wolverine, and considering Insomniac is pretty much going for full out on a Venom game for Insomniac Spider-Man universe, I think it's only right that we talk about what we can expect from Wolverine when it eventually releases, either 2025 or 2026. All we've really seen of Wolverine so far is pretty much the whole of the leaked gameplay, and that is literally about it. I mean, aside from the trailer, we haven't got any official apart from that. So yeah, let's hope we actually see something around 2027. But without further ado, let's go into some of the things I'd like to see in this game. I think it's already been made clear that we're going to get a plethora of Wolverine suits in this game, much like the classic Wolverine yellow and blue suit, as well as some of the iconic suits from the comics, and possibly some of the movie suits from the X-Men movies. Some personal ones I'd like to see is a rendition of the classic suit, which I have pretty much seen in some of the leaks, and all I can say is it looks very original and very uniquely classic. And also, I don't know if we're going to be getting the tank top version of Wolverine, that's still really unconfirmed at this point. And also a Weapon X version of the Wolverine would also be really cool, as that is a main staple of the Wolverine comics. Another suit we probably need as well is of course the brown and the yellow suit. Without this suit I don't think a Wolverine game would be really complete, so I'm hoping they add that as into this game also. A X-Men Last Stand suit would also be really cool, as we really only got this suit in the X-Men video games back in the early 2000s, which really weren't that good, let's face it. And if Spider-Man can teach Insomniac anything, we already know they're going to add an absolute plethora of absolutely incredible Wolverine suits in this game, so I'm absolutely looking forward to seeing what they add, and I know they're actually going to smash out the park. Now the late gameplay that we've been getting around this game definitely looks like it's definitely going to be very stealth based and very smooth with his claws. And judging the combat in Spider-Man, I absolutely think that was probably its lowest point, but they definitely didn't fumble on the Insomniac Spider-Man's combat either, so I don't think they can really mess up at all with Wolverine, unless they just go full on and make it very clunky and not as enjoyable to control. Even having the same kind of lunge technique like we saw in X-Men Origins Wolverine would also be a very nice touch, but there's absolutely no doubt they probably will add that, as we do see it in some of the leaked gameplay, and it does look fucking lethal, what can I say. Now let's move on to one of the other things I want to see in this game, and that is of course a good story. Now Insomniac Spider-Man absolutely nailed this aspect with the whole story arc with both of these games. I would say Insomniac did the first game a bit better than the second game was, as I think Spider-Man 2 was slightly rushed with the story, and it was of course a lot shorter than the previous game that came in around 20 hours. However, I'd actually like to see Wolverine clocking at around maybe 17 to 20 hours, because I feel like that is probably the ideal mark for any type of Marvel game at this point, and it gives a lot of story to tell and also includes some extra space for the future DLCs. As far as the story goes, we don't really know much about it apart from that Jean Grey has made an appearance and she is still sporting a very ugly look in comparison to Insomniac's MJ, but I'm not going to trash her anymore. I mean, we all have our own opinions of this, like how Insomniac portrays girls in their games, but whatever. However, if we're actually going to see Jean Grey in this game, that also means that we're going to see a bunch of other X-Men characters, probably like Cyclops, Beast, or even a Nightcrawler. I'd love to see Nightcrawler in this game. I think he'd be a great addition to the story. And as far as the villains go, I mean, we could see a whole plethora of new villains, or even like an entirely original villain that we haven't seen before in the X-Men universe. And who knows with Insomniac. As I said in a previous video, they are very common with going around their own way of roots and doing their own thing, which I absolutely love about the company, and it's something they really like to do with superhero based games and their upcoming projects. I really can't see them mucking up Wolverine as a video game in itself. I think it has a lot of stuff to offer and bring to the table, and actually fleshing out Logan's character, I believe Insomniac will tackle that absolutely perfectly, like they did with Peter Parker and Spider-Man in the Spider-Man games. I am assuming that the whole story is going to be fully open world, and we're going to be able to explore most of the desert, and I have no idea where it's going to be set, but it does look very deserted, almost as if like it takes place in Days Gone kind of universe, but obviously it doesn't take place in there at all, but it is a very similar setting. And if they're actually going to have some kind of reversal, just make sure that we can ride the Logan's motorbike or something, because if they don't, they're ruining it big time right there, man. Like, they're literally just completely missing out with that. We also get a cutscene in what you're about to see with some girl with black hair and a green dress on. I have no idea who this character could be. It could be from the comics and I'm just missing something, or it could be an entirely original character in the Insomniac universe, but comment down below who you guys think it could be. And obviously Insomniac are always in for doing things new, as I said, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is an entirely new character. Now let's debate what kind of boss fight should be in this game. Now, of course, Wolverine does have a decent rogues gallery, not as big as in comparison to Spider-Man's or Batman's or Superman's for that matter, but he does have a very small roster. I mean, you could argue that he has a lot of like the X-Men and count him in as that, but however, he obviously has Sabretooth, aka his kind of brother we see in X-Men Origins, and also we have some of the Sentinels. I think a Sentinel boss fight would go extremely hard in this game, especially if it's to do with the X-Men and he eventually teams up with one of the X-Men members, probably going to be Jean Grey, to take out one of the Sentinels. I think a Sentinel boss fight would be incredible, considering we did get one of those in the X-Men Origins Wolverine game. So honestly, if they did justice with Insomniac, and judging how Insomniac go with their games, I can see that absolutely happening. Another great fight would of course be the Sabretooth boss fight, like I mentioned. I think like a battle between those guys would be absolutely incredible. We've seen Sabretooth fight in the past, and I think adapting that into another game would be absolutely incredible. Of course, Sabretooth without Wolverine is kind of like saying you don't have bread without the butter. So honestly, I think this really needs to happen in this game. And even possibly a Dark Phoenix boss fight being the final boss. I could probably see Jean Grey going evil in this game and eventually turning on Wolverine. So honestly, if we do get that kind of fight, that would also be incredible. I think the Blob would be also a great addition, possibly as a side character and maybe act as a side mission in the game or like a mini boss fight. Just adding as many X-Men characters in this game will just make it feel more like an X-Men game and just not like some Marvel game that no one really cares about, other than just making it all about Wolverine. And lastly, I think a Hulk fight in this game would go absolutely hard. I mean, we haven't really seen Hulk in the Insomniac verse yet, but honestly, let's just face it, he would get an incredible introduction into the Wolverine game and would make an excellent addition to the boss fight roster. Let me know down below what you think of Wolverine. Personally, I don't think it's going to come out anytime soon, probably around 2026 or 2027. It depends the way Insomniac actually want to take this game to the next level. Comment down below on what you think will be in this game and the content added to it when it eventually releases. Subscribe if you're new, like, comment, share, join the Discord down below, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care and peace.